All right, this brings us to our whole discussion about exchanges. I'm not going to go through all the intuition I gave you in class about this. It had to do with those Goofy Beavis and his friend trying to sell candy bars, but they really just traded candy bars in the same dollar. Ate all the candy bars and traded $1 back and forth. So that is when I gave you my example of lacking commercial substance. And I also told you about the real life Quest Communications. That was the one of the main companies that caused the SEC and then the regulators, the FASB, to get involved and say, oh yeah, we got to come up with a way to make sure when companies exchange assets that they only get to recognize a gain on swapping assets if they actually gain something. Okay, they actually have a gain in terms of increased cash flows for the future, or increased probable future benefit over the asset that they gave up. So on this page, I was just trying to summarize some information. So the book value, again, this is just to make you remember how to calculate book value. You took the cost minus the accumulated depreciation right here, and you came up with $200,000 for the book value. The cash that was given up, this is just making sure you're reading the problem correctly. They gave up cash at $10,000. Okay, so they gave it up. I mean, that's what they paid. So Matrix paid $10,000 to float. All right, and then the fair value of the asset that they gave up. So they gave up an asset, and we know its fair value is $205. So in order to make this trade, what Matrix gave up was an asset with a fair value of $205, plus they gave up cash. They had to give up both of those things in order, apparently, for float to give them a similar asset. Right? So that's all just information. We'll see it again in the next page because it's a continuation of the same problem. So if the exchange has commercial substance, then Matrix gets to use the fair value in its calculation of that new asset's value. So if there's commercial substance, we get to use this information that there's fair value of $205 when we're trying to value the new asset. So in number 5, they assume there is commercial substance and record the exchange. So that's where I'm asking you for a journal entry. If you're wondering, you never said journal entry. I said record the exchange, remembering that you have to remove the old asset and you have to record the new one. And then I just make a reminder because a lot of times people forget that we actually gave up cash. Right? So I'm going to just create my entries down here below because this space is just a little bit small. So I'm going to leave some of this blank. I know I'm going to get new equipment. That's going to make my assets go up. I'm just going to call them new equipment and old equipment. We'll come back and fill in that amount in just a minute. I know that I've got to take the old off the books, so that's some accumulated depreciation. I got to take off the books, and it was $300,000. I leave a space. I know I'm going to have to take off some old equipment, so I know my assets are going to go down. My credit here for the old equipment. Can't spell, apparently. And that was $500,000. And we said we gave up cash. Oh, I gotta get rid of a line there. We gave up cash of $10,000. All right, and I'm just gonna get rid of that line. Okay, So this I know so far. We gave up, we have to take that old asset off the books, and I know we gave up cash. The question is, what's the value we're going to put on this new equipment? Okay, because in this situation, in situation 5, there is commercial substance. We get to use what we know about what was given up. Say, we know the fair value of the asset we gave up. We don't know the fair value of the asset that we're acquiring except to back into it. So we gave up an asset that the fair value was 205, plus we gave up cash of 10,000. So we essentially had to pay, if you will, we had to give up $215,000 worth of assets, one being cash, one being this old equipment that had a fair value of 205, in order to get that new equipment. So that is the value we're going to put on, whoops, I just want to go back here. That is the value we're going to put on that new equipment, 215. Okay, so once I do that, I can look and see, why do I have S's down there? I can look at this entry and I can see that it doesn't balance. And it doesn't balance because this is 515 and this is 510. So I know what I need to squeeze in here somehow and make my entry balance is a gain. It's going to be a gain on the exchange. Okay, so, and that gain is 5,000 to make things balance. Okay, so now we know the entry does balance because we have 515 on this side and 515 on that side. Okay, so that is essentially the answer to number 5 and the answer to number 7. We recorded a gain. All right, now in number 6, same information, but there's no commercial substance. So what that means, if there lacks commercial substance, Matrix can't use what it knows about the fair value of the asset. It just has to use the book value when it's trying to figure out the value of the asset it acquired, of this new equipment. So we're going to look at how that's going to change this entry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that entry and paste it over here, and then we're going to change the things that we know are no longer true. All right, because we have to figure this one out again. We did give up cash. We definitely took off. We definitely had to remove the old equipment. So that's that credit. We definitely had to remove the old accumulated depreciation that went with it, and we gave up cash. Okay. The value of this new equipment, we can only use the book value of the old equipment as our starting point. So we gave up a book value of 200,000, plus we gave up cash of 10,000. So our new equipment value that we're going to use is 210,000. All right, so now if you look at the entry, what we have written so far, you will see that it balances, and we're done. Okay, so we're done with that. Oh, I made the same goof with except this is going to bug me if I don't fix it, because then you guys are going to go, you had that entry wrong. There we go, and you would be correct. I did have it wrong. Let me fix this one. Change my little arrow. You're like, if we did that on a test, you'd count it wrong, which I would. Okay, so we have no commercial substance, with commercial substance, without commercial substance, with commercial substance. Right there. And then we have without commercial substance. That takes care of exchanges with and without. You should be able to handle both ways, right? Give you some information. I have to tell you if it has commercial substance. We talked a little bit about what auditors look for. They look for if you've actually made an increase in productivity or increase in future cash flows as a result of this exchange. I have to tell you that for purposes of a test or for homework when you're working through the homework. Not left for you to figure out.